So, Paul, how does it feel to you in terms of the federal budget and the work that you're doing in Toronto?
I guess, Libby, the first thing I would say, is that people are preoccupied with the vaccine, and they're preoccupied with the folks that we work with want to get the vaccine, and there are all kinds of hurdles and challenges that we're seeing in terms of access to the vaccine. But even before that, I want to come back to the piece around, a guaranteed livable income. I think CERB has done something really significant, and we need to continue that conversation. In this country right now, there are 5.5 million people that are food insecure, don't know where their food's going to come from. And I think we have an opportunity to really learn from this experience of CERB. When it comes to food access, one of the things we've seen is, the $2,000 CERB has actually caused food bank usage in smaller communities to decrease. But we've seen increases in cities like Toronto. So I think we've got to have a conversation. There's some learning that needs to happen there. We need to figure out what is it that people need exactly. How much do people need to be able to survive? And I think that has to be encompassed in a human rights framework that doesn't see services slashed and cut. The other thing I'm going to say is, we can't forget that we don't have a vaccine for climate change. And folks for a very long time have been calling for a Green New Deal, a just transition. These things aren't slogans. This is, a framework for thinking about how we use public money to combat some of the issues that we face. Prioritizing Indigenous voices, prioritizing folks of color who have been left out of these conversations, as Leah mentioned, and the leadership from these communities to be able to think about how do we combat this climate crisis? How do we combat the housing crisis? And how do we use a significant investment of public dollars to be able to do those things together? I think one of the scariest things is that we've been convinced that this type of mobilization to tackle these existential threats just isn't possible. And that to me is really dangerous, because the minute we believe that, we're doomed. And I could rattle off a long list of policies, but I think what I really need, and what I'm hearing from folks in my community and the folks that we work with at FoodShare, is people need hope. I want to see hope in this budget. I want us to be able to believe in government, to believe that we can collectively defeat anything that threatens us, be it climate change, systemic racism, income inequality, or even the housing crisis. Right now, I think this government has an opportunity, and I think it's an opportunity to prove that the social contract is still good. I'm an optimistic guy, which is hard, especially with this government, but I genuinely and truly hope that the Trudeau government doesn't take that away from me and Canadians right across this country.